So, why should you invest in Google Ads for your cosmetic dentist practice?
Yeah, let's go. We came a long way. That's what the song say. And I could do all things. I could do all things. Yeah, I could do all things. Yeah. We came a long way. That's what the song say. And I could do all things.
Well, I'll put it this way. A lot of dentists and businesses in general, but a lot of dentists are sold on the fact that if you have this great website, people are going to go to your website, they're going to fill out the form and book appointments, they're going to look at your products and services, and everything will be great once you do that. But the reality is, build it and they will come does not really exist. And so, put it this way: there are close to a billion websites out there. There's like millions and millions of websites that live on the internet, and hundreds of websites go online every day. You have to compete with all of these websites out there, and you want to get to the front of the pack. And Google is going to put those sites that have the most value and the most interest uh, out in front of the population out there. And your website, unfortunately, because it's new, you may not have the team to write articles and all this content behind it that will promote it. It will not rank up there. And so that presents you the dilemma of getting butts in seats, because that's what you want at the end of the day. You want to provide a valuable service and help people in their oral health. So another way of putting this is, let's say you go to the grocery store. When you go to the grocery store, there's a lot of brands in the grocery store. You have brands that are established, let's say, and let's say Coke and Pepsi. I'll use those as an example. They are well-established brands. They've made their way into the household. Everybody around the world knows these brands. So when you go into the store and you're looking for that brand, you know exactly where to go. You know where to find it. Go to the soda aisle and it's in such and such location. You just go straight there. But if you are a brand that has a lot of competition in the space, or you're a lesser known brand, then you'll have to find some way to get out there and to get noticed. Otherwise, you're just sitting on the shelf. And retailers know this. They have years and years of data, and they have these locations at the end of the shelves, and those locations are for rent. And they charge what is called a slotting fee. And essentially, the slotting fee just allows them to put these products at the end of the aisle. So when you're going by, you see these products and you say, "Oh wow, that's a new brand of toothpaste. Oh wow, those are some new chips. They look fun and interesting. Let me just drop them in my cart as I'm just passing by." And to take this one step further, if you have children and you're at the checkout aisle, they have slotting fees for all the candies and all the things. And you know this because your kid always seems to manage to have candy in their hand. You're like, where did you get this candy from? It's because it was strategically put there for the kids to put the candy in their hand. And the parents are already worn down from their kids going around the store and shopping and trying to keep them from buying the whole store. And they say, you know what? These people behind me are staring at me. I don't want to look like a bad parent. My kid is at the end of the trip. Let me just buy this candy. Yes, ring it up. That is the benefit of a slotting fee. And the same thing is practiced by these search engine companies. So Google, their form of a slotting fee is the ad spaces that they have. So let's say you're going to Google search and you're looking for cosmetic dentist. The top three searches, sometimes more depending on what they're evaluating and testing, but the top searches are going to be paid ads. So if you're paying for Google ads, you are going to show up at the top of the list. If you outbid your competition in terms of price and you have a more interesting product, Google wants to show your product. And so that is the slotting fee. And people are more inclined to click on it if it's at the top of the list, and then also if it's on page one. If it's somewhere in between the middle or closer to the bottom or past page two, the chances are very, very slim that someone's going to find interest in your product or service. Okay, so I know I'm like huge on analogies, and I'm going to take us out to the docks. We're going to go fishing for patients. And historically, in terms of advertising media, it's print, it's TV and radio, it's billboard ads, and then it's also word of mouth. But look at it this way. Uh, with all of these mediums, you don't have really very much control over when people are going to see your ads or how they're going to see it or if they're going to see it at all. So think about this in terms of print media. See this gentleman reading his newspaper. Well, there's a lot of what ifs if you advertise in print media. Now, don't get me wrong, print media does have its space. I'm not knocking print media because you do have to meet customers where they are, but there's a lot of what ifs that go into this scenario. So first of all, the person has to have an interest in a publication that you're advertising in. So, yes, he has a publication. Then he has to happen to show up on the day that your ad is going to show in that publication. And he has to pick up the publication. And you can tell there are hundreds of magazines and articles that are vying for his attention or her attention. Then they grab it. Then they have to, by chance, come across your ad in the publication just by swiping. And there, some of these things have hundreds of pages on them. So you're going through and you happen to see, oh, wow, this great cosmetic dentist ad. Then you have to find, then you have to make sure that that person has a need. If they don't have a need and they come across your ad, well, they're not going to take any action on it. And then the final part is, again, taking action. The only option that you have to take action there is to have them call or maybe do a drive-by to use a coupon that you may have in there. And that is a lot of what ifs, especially when you're talking about spending your hard-earned money. Radio is a great option as well to get the word out there, and TV, but it's more cost prohibitive for a lot of dental practices. And on top of that, the slots or the positions available for advertising on that platform, it's not too many. So just think about it this way: when you're riding on rush hour and you're listening to your favorite tunes, they have to stop the music in order to put some ads up there, and then they start the music up again. There's only so many ads that they can fit in that space. Same thing with TV. There's only so many ads that they can fit in that space before you change the channel. And on top of that, there's only certain amount of slots for certain types of products. So even if, let's say, you're competing with dentist so and so across the street, well, only one of your ads are going to show. So it's, it's a competition for that space as well. So whoever has deeper pockets is going to win that battle. But it is what it is. But that's one of the challenges with those type of mediums. Uh, Billboards are great as well. Billboards, the pricing range, it can range as low as $500 to a couple of $1,000 per week or month. The challenge with this, though, is that it's really expensive and it's using an elephant gun. So everybody is seeing your ad. So whether they need cosmetic dentistry services, whether they're looking for clothes, whether they're looking for backpacks or back to school deals, everybody is seeing your ad. So you don't have the ability to narrow down your marketing on that particular platform. And then last but not least, the water cooler talk, or basically word of mouth in terms of this scenario. So in this scenario, if you have done any type of Google reviews, you know the answer to this already. If people are really happy with their service, they're going to be like, oh, wow, Dr. So-and-so did a great job. I'm going to tell one or two of my friends. I don't want to overdo it, but I'm like super, super excited. They fixed my issue. I'm great. If a person is unhappy with your service, they're going to tell everybody, like literally everybody. They'll write a bad review on Yelp. They'll go to TripAdvisor. They'll go to Google and Facebook and tell the entire world. So this is kind of like touch and go. And you have to beg them to write, to write positive reviews. So that scenario is not really a scenario that I will really depend on, because you can't really defend yourself in that scenario. So going back to the Google Ads stuff now. So we know that our prospective patients pay a lot of attention to their phones. How do we know this? Because when they're walking into your office, they're literally on their phone. Either they just finished using a GPS app, which is a Google product, by the way, and has ads in it, if you didn't know that, and you can't turn those off because it's a free service. But they're looking at their device. They may be checking their calendar, but they have their device in hand. They go walk up to the front desk, and they're checking in. They still have their device. Maybe they're checking in with somebody at work or at home, and then they go back into your offertory or back into the examination room, and they still have the device in their hand. You're treating them, and you have to literally tell them or ask them gently to put their phone down. Now, it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword in that this is a tool that you're going to use to communicate with them. So yes, it may be a nuisance and an inconvenience out there in your office, but that is the curse. But the blessing is that you can use it to reach them where they are. So when I was talking about the platforms in terms of a larger scale, those other platforms are the traditional platforms can be a bit more expensive, and then also it targets everybody, and we want to narrow down who we're targeting even smaller. So we don't want to go to the globe, because that reach and all of that information that we're putting out there, that costs money to buy the ad space. We want to narrow it down. The lake is okay, but we still want to narrow it down even more. And sometimes the lake could be like a region, an entire, let's say like if it's like a publication and they cover several regions, it's still going to hit a lot of different locations that we don't even really want it to go. And we don't want to pay for that either. The benefit of Google Ads is that because Google knows exactly who your customers are, what they're doing, where they are, and meets them where they are, you're able to narrow that down into a much smaller area. And because you're narrowing it down into a much smaller area, it's going to cost significantly less than these other platforms. And also, it's going to increase your chances of success in hooking a new patient. Anyway, I want to know your thoughts, your comments. Put them in the comments below. Again, if you have the opportunity, do that thing, smash that like button. All right, guys, I'll see you all next video.
Yeah, we came a long way. That's what the song say, and I can do all things.